On today's show, we will be hitting the fast lane with some motorsports talk and continue our coverage on some NBA action. But first, we will break down this past week's headlines and other sports with the starting lineup. So get ready, sports fans, because whether you're a diehard or a casual, the Norse Benchwarmers podcast has something for you.
Welcome back to the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. I'm your host, Colton Smith, here joined by producer Josh Northcutt and co-host Ben Miller. Guys, we're back, and there's no school.
There is no school.
How's it feel?
Go.
How's it feel? Be finally done with finals.
Well, I'm in summer classes.
Well, yeah, that's true. I'm in a summer class as well, but yeah, it hasn't kicked in yet.
Mine just kicked in this week, but it's nothing that I can't handle because it's all online and everything else. So a lot easier and a lot less stressful. But real fast, I wanted to just ask. Who called the winning horse again for the Kentucky Derby? Just going to throw that out there.
This guy's been waiting days for this, guys. He's been waiting days.
Number three.
Never
lets me down.
Yeah, just a touch. I don't even remember seeing him on the screen at any point but it was just a touch.
Yeah.
But before we get into the news we want to talk about today, we do have an announcement to make. We will be moving the podcast to Wednesdays. So we will release them on Wednesdays about the same time, 12 to 2 range, just depending upon how my editing goes. And, so we want to make that move. That will be the date for throughout the summer. I guess I'll go ahead and throw this in now. There's 2 weeks where we're not sure how it's going to work because we are all, including Garrett, going on a trip abroad. We're going to try and get some clips for you out there. We might try to pre-record something for you guys, but just know, from the last week of May and the first week of June, there will be a little period of uncertainty there. So we'll see how that goes, but we'll try to get some stuff out there for you for sure. And is there anything you guys want to comment on that or want to get ready to get started?
No, I'm ready to just get started.
All right, let's get started to the stuff. Some big stuff here in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow has finally come out of the woodworks to throw some footballs, and it looks good. Very good.
Back practicing since he suffered a season-ending wrist injury back in November. And his exact quotes was, "This was a difficult injury. It's been a tough several months, but physically it's not the worst injury that I've ever had." That made me very excited to hear. And he's also mentioned that he's a lot stronger coming back, which is pretty impressive to say because having that wrist injury and everything else, I would think maybe he would lose a little bit of strength, but to be stronger and everything, good to see.
Yeah, definitely good to see. I mean, watching videos of him throwing the ball to Trenton Irwin and Mike Jasinski and a few others, though, I mean, he looked 100%, and the coaching staff and a couple of receivers are really, really confident with the progress that he's making. So I'm really excited for this upcoming season.
Yeah, I mean, everything looks great. I guess I'm too much of a basketball fan that I see basketball players all the time posting off-season stuff. Like Ben Simmons is the king of it. Like, oh, I'm going to be back better than ever. I look so good without any defenders. So at the end of the day, I think it's a little different for football for sure, but I still have that skepticism when I see stuff like that.
Which is understandable because he even mentioned, when he had his knee injury, he could go to Aaron Rodgers. A quarterback's never had this injury before. He had to go talk to offensive linemen and defensive linemen, and I wonder if that's what kind of helped him gain the strength. But as he mentioned, he was working out with Trent Irwin and Mike Gesicki. Trent Irwin said he's still got that zip and pop. He's impressed with his work so far.
Yeah, well, hopefully for the love of Cincinnati, this all works out.
No kidding.
But moving on to another topic in the NFL, wide receiver signings. Quite a few this week, not necessarily big names. I mean, Odell Beckham's a pretty big name, I guess. But one that hits close to home, Tyler Boyd headed to the Tennessee Titans. And I'll be honest, I'm just happy he didn't go to the Steelers. I always have liked Boyd. He's been that one guy who stuck through this team for a while. And I hope nothing but the best for him in Tennessee.
Yeah, excited to see Tyler Boyd. That Ridley, Boyd, D-Hop, very nice veteran crew for Will Levis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things with Brian Callahan calling the plays. Should be interesting to see how it all works out. I kind of like Will Levis. To preview
too.
a little bit as a fantasy football sleeper. I could see it.
It's like a backup QB option in the late rounds or something.
I play in a 2-quarterback league, so he
okay.
definitely would be one of those guys
fair.
who I wouldn't mind as my second quarterback because he's a little bit mobile and he can sling it.
Yeah.
And now he's got 3 reliable guys to catch it. I think he's going to absolutely love Tyler Boyd down there.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Boyd's moved to Tennessee. I feel like this is a great move because obviously Brian Callahan, he's the head coach, and obviously he was the offensive coordinator for Cincinnati last year, and I feel like he's going to do well pairing up with Ridley and Hopkins really well for Will Levis, just like Josh mentioned. And, Brian Callahan, he's familiar with his game, so I feel like that's going to come into play. So, yeah, best of luck to Tyler Boyd in Tennessee.
Yeah, do you know what happened necessarily that soured his relationship with the Bengals? Because at the end of the day, is it more money in Tennessee? I didn't check that part of it, but it just feels like he's going to be another third option in Tennessee.
It was one of those things the Bengals were kind of just ready to move on. And he had his time here. We want to get younger. We want a different kind of scheme. Okay. Obviously, with the wide receivers now, they have in the slots with Charlie Jones and Burton. That's more speed than what Tyler Boyd will bring. So it kind of just, I won't say wore out his welcome, because nobody's had anything bad to say about Tyler Boyd. I think the entire time while he was here.
Absolutely.
But it was time to move on. One of the wide receivers I wanted to mention, though, was Odell Beckham Jr. going to Miami. If Odell Beckham Jr. can stay healthy, and I know that's a big if.
That's a huge if. Like I'm already saying this will be a great signing for 5 games.
But man, that wide receiving core now with Waddle and Hill, and now you have OBJ. That is nasty. It's too bad they still don't have a quarterback.
Yep. I mean, I'm with you there. I feel like this is a good signing for the Miami Dolphins. Like you mentioned, it's OBJ, Waddle, Hill, all behind Tua Tagovailoa, so they might be a threat in the East with this wide receiver duo.
Oh, they definitely won the East.
Yeah, I said they've got the East pretty much in the bag unless Buffalo pulls something out of their butt.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see them beating Buffalo this year.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you had a wide receiver you wanted to bring up, Ben?
Yeah, so Chase Claypool, I was a little bit up and down on this pick because Claypool, his first 2 seasons, he had 1,700 yards and 11 touchdowns, but as of late, he got the Pittsburgh Steelers disease, whatever the heck it is, something in the water there. But yeah, he failed to crack 900 total yards in the 2022 and 2023 season. And this blew my mind. Only caught 4 passes for 26 yards last year with Miami. So to go from Stephon Diggs to Chase Claypool, I just don't see this working out, to be honest with you guys.
The one thing about that is he was playing behind Tyreek Hill and
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle, and I would say there's even another wide receiver on there that's probably better than Claypool.
He came over from the Jets. I can't remember his name either.
But how many targets did he have? You know that?
I have no idea, to be honest.
I'd say because 4 receptions, he probably had 12 targets throughout the year. I don't even really remember him making it on.
Yeah, the only thing about Chase Claypool, he will be remembered for the Bears trading a 2nd-round pick for him.
Yeah,
such a bad trade.
Yeah,
maybe he can find something though. I mean, it's probably the best quarterback he's played with, in Josh Allen, and decently pass heavy. Well, they actually want to run the ball now with their new offensive coordinator, but still, I mean, he's gonna sling it. So who knows? Maybe he can find some success there.
If there's anywhere he's going to find success, it's going to be with Josh Allen.
Oh yeah, it's do or die.
And plus, I'm not saying he's going to be a bust in Buffalo though, but I
don't think the expectations are all that high.
Right. But it'll be interesting to see how he pairs up with Josh Allen. I mean, who knows? They might prove a lot of people wrong, and they might be a good duo. And yeah, that's my take.
Wide receiver Rashee Rice is now a suspect in alleged assault after being arrested in March for his involvement in a 7-car crash. Colton, I'll throw it to you because you had me dying laughing.
I don't even have anything to say, man. It's just like what the heck, man?
But I mean, I think you said it perfectly in the group chat. Grand Theft Auto, real life. That is what the dude has become.
Yeah, it's literally like the man won a Super Bowl and it was like, all right, it's just time to become GTA. GTA is my life now.
So 4 games, 8 games, whole year. How long is he suspended?
Well, it's just how the NFL wheel of punishment, they just go up there and spin the wheel and whatever it lands on it. It's hard to tell, but I would say probably, I would say 8, half a season or
Ben,
so.
your thought?
I mean, do you guys feel like there should be a fine involved?
Oh, he's definitely getting fined.
Oh, yeah. There's at least a fine on top of the suspension.
I don't want him playing. The man does not deserve to play in the NFL.
I'm with you there. He does not deserve to play. I mean, why is Rashee Rice doing this to begin with? I mean, you just won a Super Bowl in your first year with the Chiefs, and you're going to be a key part with this offense in the future. So it's just disappointing to see Rice go down this path.
Yeah, it seems like a trend around a lot of the younger like football players in college and NFL that that they just seem to be making some dumb decisions. But I guess that's just a part of life.
And plus, only focus on the three-peat.
Yeah. It's like all you got to do is just show up and you have a three-peat.
Yeah. Stay out of trouble.
Stay out of trouble.
It's easy.
I don't know if you just got to lock yourself in the door. Yeah, it's whatever. Man could have made a lot more money, and that money opportunity just went way down.
Yeah, I mean,
and
dude,
1 year in.
Dude is literally putting his future on the line. I mean, who knows? He might not be back with the Chiefs. Who knows? Sometime in the future.
We'll have to wait and see. But moving on from the NFL, NKU baseball and softball. We'll talk about that a little bit. Baseball is currently 28-20 with a conference record of 15-9. They are currently second in the Horizon League. They're on a 3-game win streak. They got a series this weekend against Purdue Fort Wayne. That'll be on ESPN Plus if you guys want to watch that. They just beat an Eastern Kentucky team 9-7.
Yep.
That's the second time they played EKU. The first time they lost 20-15. So it feels like there's a little growth with this team, but they got a big series after next weekend, or after this current weekend, so next weekend against Wright State, who is currently in the lead. So
I feel like NKU, like you mentioned before, they're on a 3-game winning streak, and they got a series win over Youngstown State over the weekend. Much needed series win after losing their last 2 series losses to, dropping their last 2 series to Milwaukee and Oakland. So, and this team, they're really good at home, but I look for them to win the series against Purdue Fort Wayne in order to continue to be a threat to that number 1 seed, Wright State, which is who they play next week, as you mentioned. They're 27-19, 16-8 overall. So I feel like this North squad, they're starting to find their rhythm as they head into the Horizon League tournament next week.
yeah, that's exactly what you like to see.
Yep.
Softball on a not as good note, unfortunately lost to Robert Morris today. Now, I'm not entirely sure on how the conference tournament works, but Garrett, did you ever figure that out?
After my independent research, I can prove that the NCAA Division I Horizon League tournament for college softball is a double elimination tournament.
Okay.
All right, so they still are
So
alive.
they're still alive, staying
Still
alive. All right. Well, hopefully they can persevere and end up winning that, and getting into the postseason.
Correct.
Absolutely.
But speaking of balls and sticks, let's talk about speaking of balls and sticks, let's talk about the Reds.
All right, so the Reds, man. Last week we were all hopeful. 7 days later, not so much. Right now, for the last 7 games, 7 days, however you want to say it, they have an OPS of 365. The next worst is 499, Chicago White Sox. They have a 118 batting average. Next worst is 170, Colorado. They have 2 total home runs. This team lives and dies by the home runs, and they've got 2 of them. They have scored a total of 4 runs in the last week.
Wow.
The next lowest is Atlanta and Colorado with 10. It has gotten bad, boys. They're 0-6 since we last did a podcast.
9 of their last 11
give me hope. I need somebody to give me hope.
You don't look my way, Ben. You got any hope?
I mean, I'm just going back to this 3-game series against the Orioles. Only scored 2 runs.
No, that's not hope. That's not hope, Ben.
I mean, I can't even think of any hope, to be honest with you. I'm sorry.
And then, of course, before we went on the show, the news came out that the best power hitter on the team, Christian Encarnacion Strand, is out for 4 to 6 weeks with a broken hand. So as for hope in this team, it's starting to dwindle, guys.
Yeah. It's not looking good.
I don't know.
I mean, this is a time where we're just missing Matt McClain and Novelty Marte. I mean, since the beginning of the year, the Reds they have just been dealing with all sorts of injuries, and I mean, hopefully they'll turn it around.
Yeah, the thing of it is, it's easy to forget that this is a young team and that there's going to be ups and downs with it all. But at the same time, as a Reds fan for a while, I haven't been, I guess, diehard or anything like that, but it feels like we always have a young team that when they get to that point where we don't have these ups and downs, they go to the Yankees, Red Sox, wherever. But
And then one last thing I wanted to throw out there. So since they swept the White Sox, we all had hope. They swept the White Sox. We shouldn't have had hope because it's the White Sox.
Yeah, it's really the
But
White Sox.
They went 1-4-1 in the last 6 series, and they're already trailing the Diamondbacks 0-1. And then they'll play tonight. But I'm telling you, tonight they win. They will win tonight.
Why? Why should I have hope?
Because they'll win tonight.
All right.
Let's hope.
I got nothing. I just want to believe they'll win tonight.
All right.
Graham Ashcraft, the stopper.
Well, enough about that dumpster fire
I
that's
would
going
like
on
to
over
jump
there.
in here
Oh.
really quick
You
with
can jump right
a
in.
quick opinion of my own about the Reds. I want to make this abundantly clear. I am not hitting the panic button as a Reds fan. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet. However, I am waving a yellow flag. I am waving a yellow flag. You've lost your last 6. You have 2 more home games against the D-backs, and then you go for a 10-game West Coast road trip. That at this point for the Reds, that can absolutely make or break you.
And I'm gonna say,
Agreed.
Garrett, as you and I know, as being big Reds fans, West Coast and Reds do not equal.
No, they don't.
No. But, yeah, it's tough times here. I was offered to go to a game yesterday, and I was like, they'd suck right now. And I lucked out because that wasn't a pretty game. But anyways, moving on to the winner's circle, we have some winners to talk about. Anybody want to start?
Ben, you want to go first, or you want me to?
I can start.
Or you got it, Cole.
Yeah, I got it. I'll go with Lando Norris. I'll be honest, F1 hasn't been number 1 on my watch list. It's been the Max Verstappen show. But anytime anybody but Max Verstappen wins a race, the world wins. And Lando Norris, of all people, winning a race there. I love Lando. I've watched his streams from time to time. It seems like a fun, down-to-earth guy. That's what he wants you to think, I guess. But no, it's nothing more happier. It's been 100 races or so since he came into F1, and finally getting that first of even Max Verstappen admitted many wins in F1. It's great to see. And hopefully this is a sign of what's to come for the sport moving forward.
Yeah, it's the first time since 2021 that someone not in a Mercedes, a Ferrari, or Red Bull won a race.
Wow.
Ricardo was the one that won that one.
No, it was Esteban Ocon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for me, my winner circle is the San Jose Sharks organization due to them winning the lottery last night and securing the number 1 pick of Macklin Celebrini. He is the son of Rick Celebrini, the Golden State Warriors director of sports and medicine. So he will not be moving far, and he will be the first ever Hobie Baker Award, which is the MVP of college winner, to go number 1 overall. So congratulations to him, 17 years old. Very impressive.
Ooh.
And for myself, I'm going with Lando Norris as well. I mean, first career win in 109 career starts, and I don't know if you guys came across this, but it was McLaren's first Grand Prix victory since 2021.
Yeah.
How about that?
That was Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
That was, in fact, Daniel Ricciardo.
And also, he beat out the champ, Max
Verstappen.
Yeah. By 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Anytime you can beat that dude in an F1 race, it's huge.
He got that track position. It didn't look back, and that's a good sign for sure.
Yep.
But Garrett, you got a winner? Or you just want to vote on ours? Like, what we got here?
Well, gentlemen, after careful consideration, it's a sweep. It's Lando Norris. You got to celebrate that. Come on now.
Absolutely.
I just do
like
want to throw
the
out
world wins.
real quickly. I want to throw out an honorable mention for Joshua Northcutt predicting Kyle Larson and Mystic Dan winning their races. Winning.
Hell yeah. Paying for your trip one bet at a time.
No comment.
All right. So that is the winner's circle. We got quite a few winners there. We have the Motorsports talk on the schedule for today. That's something that we have not done yet on the show. We'll start with, we talked about F1 a little bit, so we'll start with IndyCar because there's some crazy stuff going down in IndyCar right now. It was revealed yesterday that Team Penske will be suspending their team president, and reason that Austin Cindric has a cup ride, Tim Cindric, along with 3 other crew members for the Indy 500. What came out is that the team used software that allowed them to wrongly use IndyCar's push-to-pass system on starts and restarts. There was a fine given out. There was some points taken away, but all in all, it felt like a slap on the wrist. And by the way, if you didn't know, Roger Penske, the owner of Penske, also owns IndyCar. So of all teams to magically find software that messes with IndyCar equipment. Like they basically, the push to pass, the way I understand it is IndyCar makes it and you install it into it's not something that you make in your shop. So they magically find software that exploits that. Anything suspect? I mean, I know sports, there's no shady stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but anything suspect there, Ben?
I mean, it's just crazy to see Team Penske in this position. I mean, we know who they are as a race organization. They're arguably the greatest team in IndyCar, and yeah, like in all my years of watching IndyCar, I have never come across anything like this with the push to pass. From my understanding, like you mentioned, you can use it during the race to make passes and whatnot, but the start and restarts, that's when it's disabled.
Yeah.
And, Joseph Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin, they were each fined $25,000 and docked 10 points each.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely crazy.
I won't lie, I don't know much about it. I just found it very interesting, and I give Elise Cindric's dad, what was his name you said?
Tim Cindric.
Tim Cindric. Credit. He took full responsibility and said, hey, this is on me to know. Maybe I didn't have a full hand on it, but I should have known it was going on. And he accepted the suspension and everything else. But, yeah, I mean, I don't have much of a thought or take on it.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah, and Joseph Newgarden said he used it 3 times and McLaughlin used it once. But this is what I was confused about. I mean, Will Power, the third Penske driver, it was never used in his car, but it was in his car, and for some odd reason he still gets fined and docked points.
I don't even know. All I can say is that if this happened in NASCAR, they would get the Michael Waltrip racing treatment.
Yeah,
they wouldn't be a team anymore. They would just
good point.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the case because Team Penske is obviously the owner, but like they would just run them in the ground. We get like $100,000 fines for just simple parts being messed with. So something as major as that, it would have been ridiculous in NASCAR, but that's IndyCar for you. Anyways, speaking of NASCAR, we are almost halfway through the season already.
It will be this week.
It is this week?
This week is the halfway point of the regular season.
It doesn't even feel like that. Oh.
And what a season it's been.
Yeah, it's been a great start. There was some news that came out about broadcast next year. Dale Jr. will be back broadcasting for TNT. It wasn't announced officially, but he'll also be doing the HBO Max streams.
Amazon,
yeah. HBO Max will be also streaming, or just Max will be streaming with that TNT, but then there's also the Amazon Prime. So it's kind of sad that it only be like in a summertime, kind of the least important races of the year, kind of towards the end, I guess it is, but I loved him at NBC, and it'll be sad that he won't be on the playoffs, but still, all in all, it'll be interesting to see what he builds there, because everything that dude touches turns to gold, it seems like.
I was going to say, anytime you got the face of NASCAR, because let's be honest, in this generation, this world, he was the face of NASCAR.
Absolutely.
Anytime you got the face of NASCAR talking NASCAR, it's a good thing.
Yeah, like I'm really looking forward to seeing Junior in the booth, but like we know how he is on TV. I mean, he has his own podcasts, and he's really knowledgeable with NASCAR, so I look for him to do some great things over on TNT.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. It's interesting that NBC is also kind of hitting the reset button on their broadcast. I don't think many of their talent's coming back.
Really?
From what I saw. But talking about NASCAR itself, how about that Kansas race, boys?
That was absolutely crazy.
It was a great Derby race, but Kansas
said, hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my beer for sure.
Yep.
I mean, we kind of just breezed over, but this season has been amazing. There has been a .003 second race, and then this week it was a historic overtime finish of .001, where Kyle Larson edged out Chris Buescher to keep Ford winless. Wow.
Yeah, I was Ford. We might be looking at a Ford that looks like the Chevy Camaro when it first came out, because Chase Elliott was the only one to win that year as a Chevy. Maybe Kurt Busch was there and he got a win or so, but that first year of the Camaro, this is what this year Ford Mustang looks like to me, where they just look hilariously behind the pack.
They've lost 4 races this year, though, by less than a half a second.
That's true.
I mean, they've been right there. Blaney and Buescher, specifically the two of historically awesome finishes. Like, it doesn't make sense to me because there's a lot of talented drivers, but hopefully Ford can figure it out by the time playoffs roll around, or they're going to get left out, and it's just going to be a Joe Gibbs versus Hendricks championship.
Absolutely. Yeah. But let's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still here, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, but like you mentioned, Josh, overall great NASCAR season. I mean, it's been filled with a bunch of photo finishes. I mean, we saw it with Daniel Suarez, Kyle Busch, and Ryan Blaney at Atlanta, followed up by Sam Mayer and Ryan Sieg in the Xfinity Series. And just this weekend, we just witnessed the closest finish in NASCAR history. So, I mean, I like your point there with the Fords. I mean, they've been close to getting that elusive first win of this season, but, yeah, it's just been an absolute crazy season.
Yeah, but looking at the current standings, we got Kyle Larson at the top, MTJ, Chase Elliott, my boy, in third, Denny Hamlin, and Tyler Reddick rounding out the top 5. Would you say out of these, are these the favorites kind of so far? They all have wins so far, or who do you believe is the favorite?
Well, Truex doesn't have a win.
Oh, he doesn't yet.
No, Truex does not have a win.
That's right.
He has just been very, very consistent in every single race. Hamlin's got 3, Byron's got 3, Larson's got 2.
But Byron's not even in the 5, in the top 5.
Did Elliott have 2? Or
no, just 1.
Well, Elliott's got 1, Reddick's got 1, Bell's got 1, and Suarez has 1. They're all locked in the playoffs. But I think right now you'd have to say Larson, Byron, Hamlin, and Truex. So like I said, it's a Joe Gibbs and Hendrick show.
I mean, it's been the Hendrick and Gibbs show all season. I mean, Denny Hamlin, he has 3 wins this year, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s. I feel like he's been the most consistent out of all of them, and I feel like this can be the year that he wins his first Cup Series championship.
Well, you saw he called a shot finally.
Yeah.
He said, I will win the championship. And he's called to his shot twice this year, and he won both races. Third time's the charm. Go win it, Denny.
Yep.
You don't seem to be happy about Denny.
It's not that I'm not happy. I would love to see him win, I guess, but like we go through this every year where this is Denny's year. So like
it's very true.
I'll believe Denny Hamlin is a NASCAR champion when I see him celebrating the NASCAR championship. And then I'll be salty because, honestly, I'm not the biggest Denny fan, but I don't hate it. I don't hate him. Like, he needs to add to his legacy. But moving down this list here, we got Blaney in 6th. We mentioned he's basically the top Ford, or really the only Ford in the top 10, even after Buescher finished 2nd. We got Byron in 7th, who's outside of his wins, has kind of looked a little rough. It's like he just can't either wins or he's DNF'd or something of that nature.
Little consistency there.
Yeah. Ty Gibbs has kind of faded off as the season's gone on. Alex Bowman has kind of gotten better as the season has gone on. Ross Chastain has just kind of been around, nothing much too crazy. Chris Buescher seems to be getting hot at the right time. I feel like he's kind of stepped up his game here in the last couple of weeks. So hopefully he continues that stretch throughout the summer. That's kind of how last season went as well.
Definitely.
But then we got KFB, who's struggling there. I'm sure we'll have some stuff to talk about, but I'm going to finish this here. Christopher Bell, he was 17th last week, so the fact that he's up to 13th is pretty nuts. And then Brad Keselowski, Chase Briscoe, and Daniel Suarez. He's not currently in the playoff points-wise, but he has that win that will get him into the playoffs because winning is all that matters. What do you guys see here from the bottom half of the playoff standings?
I'm very interested to see if Chase Briscoe can hang on.
Yeah, me too.
That is the one guy who I've got circled to possibly fall out of the list. And then as you mentioned, KFB, very inconsistent. Didn't seem happy with the car again this week.
He doesn't seem happy with the car really any week. And I know that's normal, but what I mean is like his cars just seem to be consistently not like at Joe Gibbs he would always hate his cars, but they would typically be good enough to win. I don't think he's had that in his cars at RCR this season, or really last season a lot. Yeah,
for myself, I'm looking at Chris Buescher because, like you said, I think he's been coming on hot as of late. I mean, that second place finish obviously to Kyle Larson. So I feel like this is going to bring momentum to him and RFK. So it'll be interesting to see how they'll develop later in the season. I mean, we saw it last year with 3 wins.
Yep.
Kyle Busch, inconsistent, only 2 top 5s and 5 top 10s to come along with it though. But I'm actually looking at Noah Gragson. He's been coming on.
That's somebody I was going to talk about here soon. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's I think he's arguably SHR's best driver this season. I mean, he's had 3 consecutive top 10s, and he's definitely making that team look good for sure.
It's such a 180 from last year where we saw him just looked awful at Legacy, and now he's back at SHR, still not getting the best equipment, but by far getting the most out of that equipment.
Yep.
Seems like through strategy, he's really great at restarts. If you watch him on the restarts, keep an eye out for him. I remember Phoenix is where I first noticed this, but he always seems to gain 2 or 3 spots on the restarts, and then it's just a matter of if he can keep that throughout the run. But yeah, Gregson deserves a lot of credit because to me, the stats don't necessarily reflect it yet, but he's looked better than Chase Briscoe in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And could potentially be the flagship. Like he's probably been the second or third best, the third or fourth best actually, for about Buscher or Kozlowski. Third or fourth best Ford driver so far.
Yeah, and you got to think he's also trying to battle back from losing 35 points earlier in the season.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, he's right there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the other 4 guys just on the outside looking in: Bubba, Joey Logano, who I know you want to talk about, Noah Gragson, and Austin Cindric. Bubba is going to be the one that I'm interested to see because talk about a guy who has been like a light switch on and off.
Absolutely.
That dude is either in the top 10 or he's wrecking.
Yeah.
This past week, he just couldn't avoid it. Like he did everything right, and there's nothing he could have done to handle it. But I want to say there's 3 restrictor plate races still to go in the season.
And the regular season?
Yeah, in the regular season.
I think there's only one, Daytona, right?
I think they come back to Atlanta in the summer, don't they?
But no, they'd moved that to the playoffs.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just Daytona.
Okay, so then he's got one really good chance though, because anytime you go to Daytona and a restrictor place, Bubba's got a shot.
Absolutely. But yeah, he's looked pretty rough so far. Logano has looked rough. He had a rough start. He just hasn't been able to get that consistency, kind of like we talked about with Busch. Logano, it's definitely questioning. Cindric in 20th is something to mention as well, because that's actually probably the best he's looked in his career at Penske, and he's driving a car that's winning championships, driving for a team that's winning championships with his teammates, and the fact that 20th is actually, that's pretty good for him. Like that's not a good thing at all.
Yeah. Before the show started, I said there was a rumor I was reading, so there's talk of moving Cindric to the 21 because they technically own that car as well. Penske has a sponsorship. It's got the Wood Brothers name. But then Carson Hocevar, thank you. Hocevar will be moving to the 2.
I love that take because Hocevar, he's like 22nd in points, I believe. It's like it's something nuts. Like he's getting the most out of that Spire 77.
You know, that's interesting. I did not hear about Carson Hocevar going to Team Penske. You said in the number 2, right?
Yeah, he would jump in 2.
Wow. I mean, he's been impressive somewhat this year. I mean, he's had a good rookie season with Spire Motorsports, and he performed last year really well in this next gen car, and I would not be mad that he went over to the 2 car.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Ross Chastain, so it's kind of interesting that they would be 1 and 2. Like he's just a raw prospect, but he gets the most out of his equipment no matter what. And I think him in the 2. I've heard that rumbling before. I thought it was crazy talk, but the more I see it, the more I believe it. And Cindric going to the 21, he would do better than Burden. That's for sure. That's absolutely for sure.
Harrison Burton needs to move back down to the Xfinity Series.
he needs to go back down to the dirt. Just start there. start back to the top. But
should have never gotten rid of Matty D.
Oh God, don't even get me started on that, man. I could go a whole podcast episode about why Matty D should have been there, but he didn't help his case. I'll give him that. He certainly did not help his case at all.
Bring Dude back to the Cup Series.
Yeah. Yep. But that's all we got for the current happenings of the NASCAR world. But we have a trivia question that I've been teased is a NASCAR question. Sorry, that was weird. But Garrett, take it away.
Gentlemen, you would be correct. It is indeed a NASCAR trivia question. And my question for you 3 is, who is the only driver to win a Winston Cup, a Nextel Cup, and a Sprint Cup?
This is going to take a second. I got to think through them. Winston Cup, Nextel Cup, and a Sprint Cup?
Correct.
Okay. Do we get multiple answers on this one, right?
Yeah, you got the multiple question. Please.
I say we each get one just off the top of the head, and then you give us like a multiple choice or something. How's that sound?
That's fair.
Okay. So my off the top of my head guess, I am going with you guys.
I'm going to go Kevin Harvick.
I'll say Kevin Harvick as well.
Kevin Harvick. I don't think he won a championship in the Nextel, or definitely not Winston. God, I'm racking my brain here. Tony Stewart. Yeah, I don't think he won a Winston though, right?
It's Tony Stewart.
Let's go!
Oh my God!
You're over there shaking your head, no?
Oh, there's
Let's
your
go!
point.
That's my point, baby. I'm on the board.
There's your point.
Hell yeah, baby. Dude, that just popped in my head.
Wow. Tony.
I
smoke.
I cannot believe I did
Smoke.
not know that.
Ah, come on, man. He's an Indiana boy. I'm an Indiana boy. You already know I know that.
The choices for this trivia question were Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, and Kyle Busch. Harvick was not among them.
Yeah. So we want to look forward to this weekend, though, in Darlington.
Yeah.
We're going to throw it back to you, Garrett, since you came up with the idea, kind of. Paint schemes.
Yeah.
Which ones do you enjoy?
You got some
Kind of,
beauties out
yeah,
there.
sure. As someone who is not really in the world of NASCAR right now, used to be a huge fan, not really into it right now. I enjoy listening to you guys talk about it. But I am always a sucker for a good paint scheme. So I will give you my favorite paint scheme for the upcoming race from each division of racing. So for the Cup Series, my personal favorite is going to be Tyler Reddick's 45 car. I really love the clean look of the white with the like rainbow lines running down the side of it. It kind of reminds me of like a really old Apple logo back when they had that rainbow kind of feel to them.
Yeah, yeah.
And then for Xfinity, I head over heels my favorite of any division of racing for this Darlington race is Brennan Poole's 44 car with that kick butt.
The what?
with the really cool Hot Wheels livery. I'm in love with that. I think this thing looks so cool, and I can't wait to watch it this weekend. And for the Craftsman Truck Series, my favorite is going to have to be Bailey Curry in the 41 truck. Honestly, don't really know why. I really like the color combination, and I like the lines that it's got going on. But other than that, I'll throw it back to you guys if you want to give your favorites.
Go ahead, Ben.
All right, for myself, I'm going with Alex Bowman. He's doing
Of course.
Yep.
Imagine that.
He's running a Jimmy Johnson paint scheme from 2002 to 2005, and I don't remember much from as a kid in this car. I mean, but he's definitely accomplished a lot for sure, and it's going to be really cool to see that car back on the track. And one more, it's Kyle Larson's Terry Labonte Kellogg scheme. I feel like that's one of the most iconic from the 90s.
Seems to be a trend here. Hendrick cars.
Yep.
But the Hendrick cars are the best. I mean, I'll keep that trend going. Chase Elliott's 9. I just love that national. I feel like it
These
looks
guys are just
better.
homers.
I feel like it looks better on that 9 car than it did on that at 88. And I love those 88 cars. So, Josh?
For me, Cups, Kyle Larson's historic childhood to Kellogg scheme.
Wait a minute.
Xfinity, Brennan Poole's, Kyle Petty, also the throwback, man. I had a track as a kid that literally was the 44.
Yeah.
So awesome. And then the truck had to go Taylor Gray's 2000 throwback scheme. Orange, black, tiger stripe with tigers on it. Come on now.
Yeah. That was a layup for sure. But
Yep.
that is our triple threat trivia. That was a fun round.
It was.
I'll be honest.
Definitely.
Just Tony Stewart literally just spawned in my head and it worked. So we're going to talk about some NBA though, because that's the big thing going on right now. The playoffs round 2 is going on. We have tonight the Pacers are playing the Knicks. Last night the Thunder played the Mavericks and the Celtics played the Heat, the Cavs. That I don't even have anything to say about that. Night before we also had the other series, Minnesota versus the Nuggets, which is already 2 games down. That's the big one. That's the one I want to talk about really quick because this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. If you would have told me at any point in my life that the Timberwolves would be up 2-0 in a series, I would have been shocked. I would have called you crazy. But it's really come down to I just need to give props to Cat because honestly, he's somebody that I have hated on a lot, that a lot of people on the internet have hated on, and he wasn't necessarily the reason they won this game, obviously, but I think he's somebody that 27 points. He played very well on defense and held Jokic to 16. And all in all, it's just a 180 from the player that I remember before Rudy Gobert came to town, and that's really all I got.
Yeah, for me, I can't disagree. The surprise of that series is unbelievable. I still don't know what's going on with Denver. I know Jamal Murray is not the healthiest, but there's enough. There's Aaron Gordon, and
Aaron Gordon showed up.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon showed up.
He seems like the only one that showed up.
Michael Porter Jr. and Joker. I mean, all year I've been pounding the desk. This guy's the MVP. This guy's the MVP. MVP Joker has not shown up this series.
Yeah. I'll go to the Timberwolves and the Nuggets as well. I mean, I just been so impressed with the Timberwolves defense. I mean, in game 2, they were up 61-38 at halftime. That I guarantee.
I tuned out after that.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't. I guarantee a lot of us did not expect this at all. Yeah. Especially Denver, the defending series champions, being down 2-0. But overall, just impressed with this defense. Just looking at these stats here, the Timberwolves are the number 2 defense in rating and number 1 in field goal percentage.
I mean, I absolutely expected the Timberwolves to give this Nuggets team a hard 7-game series, but I expected in the end the Nuggets to pull through.
Yeah,
and it doesn't look like it's happening.
Yeah, no, we'll see.
There's still a window open.
Correct.
There certainly is.
This game 3 will be huge.
Yeah.
To decide what's going to happen
for sure. But we haven't even said his name yet. Anthony Edwards is the best player in this series right now.
Absolutely. I mean, I think. Yeah, he dropped 27 points the other day, and I feel like in game 1 he had 40-something. I don't think I have the stat down, but he joined Michael Jordan, Jerry West, and some other guy that have scored.
Some other guy, and it'll be like some Hall of Famer.
That was Jalen Brunson.
Huh?
That was Jalen Brunson.
Oh yeah, that was Jalen Brunson. Are you talking about the 40-point games?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
No, you're good because I was actually about to bring that up.
Yeah.
Because the fact Ant dominating the West and looking like the next player up on the East, Jalen Brunson, and everything he's doing right now is he's a walking bucket.
Let me put up my Pacers face. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here. And I'm just happy to be here.
All right. That actually was pretty funny. But no, in all seriousness of that series, I think it's going to be a good one. I still don't think that the Pacers are dead.
No.
But they got to find a way to play a little bit of defense. Yeah, so he's just happy to be here.
I mean,
just happy to be here.
I mean, this has been a great series to watch between the Knicks and the Pacers.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a movie.
Yeah, especially with the Villanova trio. I mean, that offense has been absolutely elite. But for game 2 tonight, though, I look for Tyrese Halliburton to be more aggressive than what he was the other night. Only had 6 points and was 2 out of 6.
God, I didn't even realize it was that bad.
Yeah, 2 out of 5 from 3. So, yeah, it's going to be a great matchup between these two squads tonight.
Yeah. Another matchup before we want to talk about a little offseason stuff. The Oklahoma City Thunder and Dallas played last night, and that was interesting. I wasn't necessarily shocked because I knew Luka was hurt. But, I mean, Oklahoma City just looks like a step above Dallas in that series. Anytime they tried to reel it back in, OKC would just go further.
Yeah, Oklahoma City, I am sorry.
Yeah.
I am sorry. I doubted you, and I should not have doubted you because you guys are absolutely real. And the new era of new youth is absolutely amazing between them and the T-Wolves and – yeah, I got nothing. That was an impressive win last night. That literally just flipped me upside down. Of the Thunder are legit, and I've been wrong.
I gotta say, it's a crime that one episode. Remember when we missed a week, guys? And that episode, I had the Oklahoma City Thunder making it to the finals, and by golly, every day I weep for that episode. There was another take I won't mention in there, but
for myself, I had Dallas coming out of this series. I mean, I thought they were gonna get through the Thunder though, but the problem is Luka's dealing with a knee injury. I mean, this was interesting when I was doing research this morning. He missed 30 of 35 threes. 30 of 35 threes this series so far, and shot 23% from three versus the Clippers. And I was impressed with the Thunder's offense. I mean, multiple guys stepped up and hit at least 2 threes. I mean, you got Holmberg, he hit 2 threes. Williams hit 2 threes. SVG hit 2 threes. Wiggins with 3 threes. Wallace with 2 threes. So I feel like that was the difference maker overall in this game last night.
Yeah, and they always seem to hit them right when Dallas would reel them back in. But that's what the state of the NBA playoffs. We'll have a lot to talk about next week, I'm sure, as we get to the latter stages of these series. But we want to talk about some of the eliminated here to wrap up the show. We have quite a few teams that are in quite interesting situations. We'll start with the Lakers here, as they just fired their coach a couple days ago, Darvin Ham. Josh, I know you got a lot to say.
Yeah. I'm a little iffy on the Ham being fired situation. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of it.
You got to remember who's on the team, LeBron.
Well, there you go.
Lead GM.
Now, what's funny is before I got here, I was looking up Vegas odds, and if I told you JJ Redick is second favorite to land the head coaching job for the Lakers, what would you be thinking?
I mean, what do you guys think? Would you like to see that?
Oh,
I can't say anything nice about him.
I
will blow up.
Duke guy.
Yeah.
The emphasis of Duke is JJ Redick.
Yeah, but regardless of that, he is a basketball genius, and it's no secret that him and LeBron James are good friends. Mm-hmm. So it would shock me, because he's typically want to have like an assistant or some job, but he's definitely proven that he has a different level of knowledge of the game. And I think even as we get to the end of LeBron's career, he could be definitely a good option after LeBron is gone. So that's what they're looking for. I know you think, Josh, there may be a chance that LeBron is gone as soon as this offseason.
So with the whole situation, LeBron obviously has his player option. He will get to decide. The Lakers will not make a move until LeBron decides what he's going to do.
Right.
Yep. Personally, I think he's gone. Where he goes, I don't know. There's been a few ideas thrown out there.
Don't say it.
One being north of LA. That's all I'm gonna leave. It's north of LA.
Okay,
and the other one,
Sacramento.
And the other one being southwest of LA, in a big state. So teaming with another former teammate, but that's that. But another team I kind of wanted to talk about was a team where the basic owner through
Southeast, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. I was like, there is no Southwest.
You were so confused. Southwest.
Southwest. That's just the Pacific Ocean.
The other rumor I read was Dallas. There's potential of him going to Dallas, but I'm not talking about teams that are still in the playoffs and have a chance to win that championship. But what I am here to talk about is Miami.
Yeah.
And Pat Riley, the godfather of basketball, basically telling Jimmy Butler, shut the bleep up. You're not playing. You don't need to be talking. And then also questioning Tyler Hero's availability to the point he said he's a little fragile. 2 best players on Miami, he calls out.
Wow.
Big things blowing up there? Or
I feel like Pat Riley is always the hardest critic of his teams. I feel like this isn't anything really new. I think Jimmy Butler and Bam can take it. I don't think there's anything wrong there.
Tyler Hero, not Bam.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of the other thing he said about Bam not being no, it's Tyler Hero. Yes. I don't know why I threw Bam's name in there. Bam's great, but yeah, I think Jimmy Butler. I don't know about Tyler Hero how he is, but I feel like Jimmy Butler.
He's a Kentucky player. He's sensitive.
Oh yeah, so he's sensitive. He might not want to be there anymore, but I think regardless of unless something really crazy behind the scenes goes on, I think they run it back with this team. They try to find some random undrafted people to be really good and then get picked up by other teams and suck. I think that's just the cycle of the Heat at this point. But yeah, definitely some damning stuff there.
The thing about Jimmy though, he's 35.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that.
He's 35. I'll say it. I don't blame Pat. I'd move on. I know that's hard
I
to
agree.
say.
No, I agree.
As a semi-Heat fan, mainly D-Wade fan, it's time to move on from Jimmy. And there's a guy in Cleveland who needs to come down to South Beach, and I'll leave it at that. Ben?
For myself, I was looking at the Lakers as well. I mean, this trade, it's more than likely not going to happen. Kyrie Irving to the Lakers for D'Angelo Russell. I mean,
You're going to have to throw in a lot of extra cheese there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we know Kyrie Irving and LeBron's history together. I mean, they won a championship, but it'll be, like I said, it's more than likely not going to happen though. But that just kind of surprised me how they were looking to try to get Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
I mean, they can look, but they're not getting him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. There's too much money invested in him. But is there another team you guys got on the docket?
One more team I wanted to just throw out there was Philadelphia.
Yep.
They are basically going to blow up everything. According to GM Daryl Morey, we'll have a continue plan with our stars and our head coach, but we're going to have a lot of changes this season. And by a lot of changes, he means a lot. Tobias Harris, Kyle O'Reilly, Buddy Hield, Rocco, Nicholas Batum, D'Anthony Melton, Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, and Cameron Payne are all free agents.
Maxey on the restricted, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So he'll get the big deal. And
Right. But yeah, I mean you call it blowing up, but is that really blowing it up? I mean, those are a lot of players that have just it's been a very.
I think Kelly Oubre is a very nice piece there.
Honestly,
and
I think
I would not
keep
let him
Oubre
go.
and Hield, if you ask me.
Definitely Buddy.
Yeah.
But from the sounds of it, it is going to be Maxey and Joel Embiid. And then they're going to go get another star player.
Yeah, that's the interesting part is that now that they don't have Tobias Harris's ugly contract that needs to be thrown up there with Bradley Beal as one of the worst in the league, now that is gone, they have room to pick up a Paul George or somebody else in free agency. I'm not sure. It's not a very stacked free agency class at this point. But, yeah, they have the flexibility for the first time in a while because they've had so many max contracts and Tobias Harris on there. That they now have that flexibility to go out and pick up a guy who is a fit, not just whoever's disgruntled from Brooklyn or wherever. So, yeah, it's definitely an interesting place that the Sixers are in.
Do you think Paul George would fit in there well?
Yeah, I would say so. I think he would be able to – he's always been able to kind of adapt to the players around him pretty well. He doesn't really need to be the main scorer like he has been at Oklahoma City when he was an MVP candidate or Indiana before that. So, yeah, I think he would fit in pretty well there at the Sixers. It may take time, but I think he's the guy you can put on any team, and he will be able to find a role.
All right, so here's my question, and I hinted towards the show.
Uh-oh.
We talked about it way prior, and I'm looking ahead a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I know you're just happy to be here.
I am just happy to be here.
Paul George back in Indiana, would you love it?
I had a feeling you were going to say that when you alluded to it earlier. You didn't tell me what it was, but I had a feeling you were going to say that.
I think he would be the perfect combo with Siakam and Halliburton. He's that guy who will get you the bucket. He's the experience and growth. And I think it would legit make them contenders in the East starting next year.
Yeah, because the main issue with Pascal Siakam is that with Tyrese is that he's very willing to throw away the ball at the end of the game, just pass it to somebody else, and he's passing it to somebody like Andrew Nembhard. Well, I don't hate Mathurin if he can develop into a good player, but like he's throwing it to players that I would prefer Tyrese make the right decision there. But if you're throwing it to Paul George, I trust him. As much as I don't like him, I trust him.
You know, that's a good point, though. Paul George back in Indiana, I feel like he can be a great addition with Tyrese Halliburton to take that next step. So I would not be mad about that at all.
He hasn't burned the bridge or anything, right?
Okay.
So the bridge would have to be mending.
He didn't necessarily burn the bridge, but it was just the fact that like what really angered me was that he said this is his city, this is his place and whatnot, and then left. Then they requested a trade. So it's just like stuff like that. Like and then it doesn't help that I'm a Damian Lillard fan. And we have that whole beef. So no, I'm not a big. For me, there's some bridges that need to be mended. For most Pacers fans, they'd probably accept him with open arms. Yep. But yeah, I didn't expect to be talking about the Pacers again.
Yeah, sorry to do that to you. But there was another young team in the East you wanted to specifically talk about. Yes?
Oh, yeah, the Magic. They're in a very interesting place. Like I said with the Sixers, they have a lot of cap to throw around, and there's a very clear need of this team, and it's offense, it's scoring, it's shooting. And they have Paolo, they have Franz, and he kind of disappeared in that series a little bit. He had a couple good games, but that's something I think is just his first playoff series. He'll get better. But they need to get a guy kind of like a Paul George, but I don't think Paul George is going to go there. I think interesting decision with Paul George is whether he's going to want to win a championship or not, as if he just stays at LA or if he goes somewhere else. But I really like Malik Beasley as a fit there. You don't have to overpay for him necessarily, and he's a great shooter that will be reliable for this team. But yeah, I'm very interested to see where the Magic go. A lot of room.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Magic myself. As I was doing research, it'll be interesting to see if they can try to land D'Angelo Russell. I mean, they were in need of a veteran point guard, and he would bring a lot of backcourt scoring to that offense. So
I would like him more as a shooting guard, though. I like Jalen Suggs having the ball. I think they don't necessarily need that veteran point guard. They just need a scoring shooting guard.
Yeah, I mean, Russell, he had a great season, obviously, this year with the Lakers, becoming the all-time leading scorer in the franchise, or all-time three-point shooter in the franchise.
Breaking the all-time three-point record in the game.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
All good.
Yeah, that actually, I didn't think about D'Lo, because I obviously, like you said, it was an obvious need watching the Cavs play Orlando, that Orlando needs to get themselves a score. 28th in assist. So adding a veteran and a player who can shoot the three ball, a name that popped in my head, and it's a little past his prime, but I think he brings a championship pedigree. What about Klay Thompson?
Okay. Yeah. I don't hate that at all. Yeah. Definitely a glue locker room guy. Depends upon the price. If the price is right, if he's not looking for a crazy contract and they can get him in on a decent deal, I don't think they need to be like one of those young teams that gets the past his prime star for so much money. But if they can get him on a 2-year deal with some flexibility, I don't hate that at all.
Yeah. Klay was the one I thought of, but D'Lo, like I said, that's actually a really good one. D'Lo is really
definitely
good.
Yeah.
And Zach LaVine as a trade option has been discussed for the past year or so for the Magic.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That one as well.
I don't know if he's necessarily a winning player, but maybe he can change that, or maybe Orlando can kind of change him, because it's a lot of like guys that just want to win. They got that grit, but yeah.
Yeah, I like the Klay Thompson. I like Klay Thompson to go to the Orlando Magic. I feel like he's a really good sharpshooter, and he hasn't been necessarily the best player we're used to seeing when he was at Golden State. So I feel like people are saying this is his last year as a Golden State Warrior. So I feel like him making the move to Orlando would be a great start for him, and I feel like he can be a valuable addition to this backcourt for next season for the Magic.
And then
you had some things to say about the Pelicans too, didn't you?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if the Pelicans can get DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray. Me and the names, I swear.
I wasn't going to say anything.
But I feel like he matches up really well with Zion Williamson and Murphy. They're both really good scorers, and Murray himself is a really good scorer. He can score at all three levels, and he's an excellent playmaker. So I wouldn't be mad if he makes the move from Atlanta to New Orleans.
Plus, he adds a lot of defense that they could use.
Yeah, for sure.
So he would play the 1, CJ would be the 2. Would Ingram or Zion have to go in that trade, or would they keep both of them?
That's true. I'm not sure how you would do that. You'd maybe have to trade like a Jose Alvarado and some picks.
Would you go Murray over McCollum?
I would take Murray over McCollum.
I would just slide McCollum to the 2.
Yeah.
That's his natural position.
Yeah,
anyways.
I'm going to say when I was those 4 guys, and they're losing Valanciunas, so they're going to get younger and a little bit better, hopefully, of a scorer at the center position, so it wouldn't be bad. But to round it all out, I wanted to bring up just the Clippers, because they're in a wait-and-see situation similar to the Lakers, because they need to see what Paul George and what James Harden end up doing, and what their team offers may be out there. If Paul George and James Harden both decide to leave, and Russell Westbrook, do you trade Kawhi Leonard?
Man, that's tough. I honestly don't have an answer for that.
If it's me, yes, absolutely. If it is Steve Ballmer, no, because you just got this huge stadium that you want to win games in and bring butts to the seats. You are doing every move you can to win as many games as you can to get as many butts in the seats as you can. But yeah, if I'm actually looking to win a championship long term, get rid of Kawhi.
And then who would you want to see Kawhi lands with if you could come up with one team? Not name the Pacers.
Well, yeah, obviously the Pacers. Well, I wouldn't even want him at the Pacers. I'm not a big Kawhi past Raptors fan. But probably, I mean, the Lakers need him, right?
That's fair.
The Clippers aren't going to trade him there, but
Yeah,
so,
that's fair.
but yeah, that's interesting how that'll all work. But that's all we got for NBA. There's a lot of other stuff to talk about. Bucks and Suns, they're probably also just going to kind of stay put where they're at unless there's any requests. It'll be interesting to see how that develops. But now it is time for the 2-minute warning. Josh, take it away.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to fire them off as quickly as possible. Remember, short, quick answers. Starting first, Colton, who was the best wide receiver signing this offseason?
Give me Gabe Davis. I think he could definitely turn into a top option there in Jacksonville.
Ben.
For myself, I'm going with the Houston Texans signing Stephon Diggs. I feel like that's going to be an extra boost for their offense this upcoming season with C.J. Stroud and that wide receiver duo.
For me, it's Marquise Brown going to the Kansas City Chiefs.
I didn't even think about that.
Why does this keep happening? Why?
This is exactly what they needed.
Segment off. Obviously, we talked about possible upset with the Nuggets. Has your opinion of the championship changed any? Ben.
No, I'm still riding with the Celtics.
Okay.
I had Celtics over the Thunder. I have Thunder over the Celtics now.
I'm still going with the Nuggets. I'm not quitting.
All right.
They're going to come back and win, and I'm way wrong. We started the show talking about the Cincinnati Reds. Will they, won't they finish under 500? They're finishing under 500. Ben?
I hate to say it, but I feel like they're on the path of finishing below 500, especially with all the injuries to their key players. So, yeah, they're finishing below 500.
I love playing devil's advocate, but they're below 500.
Yeah, it's the most painful thing. And the last question, as always, Darlington Paint Schemes. Awesome weekend ahead. Ben, who is your winner?
I'm going with Denny Hamlin. Darlington fits his driving style, and he's been the best there in the last couple of years.
Colton?
Give me Ross Chastain. That Busch, very underrated paint scheme, beautiful paint scheme. He's going to get the win.
For me, he finally gets a win. We talked about him earlier. Martin Truex Jr.
MTJ stage winner. Well, that's all we have for today. Do not forget that
I
we will
actually
be
would like to butt in here really quickly.
Absolutely, sir.
But right
First
in.
ever timeout and a 2-minute warning by the producer. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I want to bring this to y'all's attention. We had some big news break while we were recording this.
Oh, usually it breaks after. This is a
Yes,
shock.
this is breaking news, people. You heard it first here. The Pirates plan to call up Paul Skeens
Oh no.
to the MLB, and he's expected to make his debut Saturday versus the Cubs.
I don't know how I get to Pittsburgh on Saturday, but now I want to go.
You start now.
Yeah, Paul Skeens is a special pitcher.
Even I know about him.
I mean, this kid is going to be electric day one, and I'll go ahead and just throw it to you, Garrett. Obviously, LSU fan and everything else. Do you follow their baseball as much as you do their football? And what do you think about this kid?
He has incredible potential. I mean, we see it. We see the hype. He's obviously far and away number one prospect right now, pitching-wise. I mean, he's absolutely lighting up AAA. I got to watch him. I didn't pay attention to much of his college career because I'm not as into LSU baseball as I am into football. However, I did watch him play in that championship series versus the Florida Gators, and I watched him pitch, and I got to say, he lives up to the hype. This guy's nasty. I would not be surprised if 5 years from now, if he's able to stay healthy, we're looking even just 5 years into his career, we're looking at, is this guy a Hall of Famer? So I mean, the sky's the limit for this kid.
I was going to say, I think, and I could be wrong on this, it's pretty safe to say he's the top prospect when it comes to pitching since Steven Strasburg. Would you agree?
I would agree. I would think so.
And then, Ben, any final thoughts on this one?
No.
All right, yeah. It would be fun to see him in the MLB for sure.
Yeah, when they come to Cincinnati, if he pitches, I will definitely be there.
Is he only like 21 or something? He's like still kind of young, right?
Very young.
I was say it seems like he just got drafted last
He
year.
was.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say this is a very quick promotion, but Well, now that we got the breaking news out of the way, that's all we have for the show officially. But do remember that we will be changing the day of the show. Next week, we'll be out on Wednesday for you all, so you only have to wait 6 days for the next episode. And be sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, comment down below, and be sure to follow us on Twitter. What's the app for the Twitter?
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Okay, I think it's probably Norse Benchwarmers, but you look us up. We're probably about the only Norse Benchwarmers that exist on Twitter. But be sure to go follow that. I'll put that up on a graphic. Thank you all for listening, though. Thank you, Bill and NKU Media Services, for all that you do, making the show better each and every week. Garrett, thank you as well in the director's chair. You make this show even better each and every week. And thank you all for coming on, because guess what? You all make the show better each and every week. So we'll see you guys in the next one when we are better, like next week. Peace out.